Good morning and welcome to Wise Women Wednesdays. I'm excited to be here again today to pour out to you what God has poured into me. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Mary and Martha. Their story comes from Luke chapter 10 verses 38 through 42. So when you get a chance, go back and read the entire chapter so you can get a better understanding of what was happening and why it was done the way it was done. And so as I begin to pray and ask God, what do you have us, the women all over the world, to know about today? And God is saying today on this Wise Women Wednesday, I want you guys to do 3 things for me. And the first thing God is saying is for us to be prepared. The second thing he's asking us is for us not to waste time. And then the third thing is to stop comparing ourselves to other women, to other people all over the world. So as I begin to read this story, I can get an understanding of why God is asking those 3 things of us. And so in the story, Martha and Mary, they invite Jesus in for dinner. So as these are 2 sisters in the Bible, as you read it, you'll understand. But Martha invites Jesus in for dinner. And after she invites him in, it's then when she starts to get prepared. So now she's preparing. She's running around trying to prepare, a perfect dinner for Jesus. She's cooking, she's cleaning, she's doing everything on her own. While Mary is sitting at Jesus' feet. She's being fed the word. She's being, fed everything that God has. He's pouring into her at that time. So as I begin to listen and read the story a little more, I could see that Mary got frustrated and well doing. So as she's running around, she's doing everything on her own. She's looking at Mary out of the side eye, like, why is she just sitting there? Doesn't she see that we have so much to do, so much work could be done, so we can give Jesus his perfect dinner? And so as she gets frustrated, she begins to say, okay, and instead of her going to Mary, she goes to Jesus. She's like, I'm going to the source. So she goes to Jesus and she asks Jesus, she's like, why are you allowing Mary to just sit there? Tell her to get up and help me. I'm in here trying to cook collard greens and cook this macaroni and cheese. I'm trying to make sure this dinner is perfect for you. I have tons of things to do, and she's just sitting there and she's not helping me. So ask yourself today, are you getting frustrated and angry while you're doing a good deed? So God is asking us to, be prepared. If that was me back in the Bible day and I'm inviting Jesus into my home, I'm going to have everything already laid out, everything already cooked. So now I can enjoy his company. Now I can enjoy his presence. He's in my home. I want to enjoy everything that he has to offer. And so as I begin to read the story a little more, she confronts Jesus. She goes to him and she's asking him, why aren't you doing these things? And why aren't you having her help me? And, why are you allowing her to just sit there? So then Jesus replied and he tells her, what Mary is doing is good. Everything that you're doing, Martha, is really not necessary. You're getting frustrated and angry. You're doing these things, but what Mary is doing is being fed. She's getting prepared. She's doing what I desire. And so as I begin to, say there's 3 things that God desires for us is 1, to be prepared. So ask yourself, am I prepared to do what God has called me to do? A lot of times we want these big lavish houses, or we want these nice, luxury cars, or we want, this huge business or whatever it is that you want. But are you prepared for those things? Ask yourself that. Am I being prepared? Am I prepared? Second thing, am I wasting time? God has called you to do so many things. You have gifts and talents like out of this world. But what are you doing? You're just waiting. We're sitting and we're waiting on a miracle just to fly past us. Or we're waiting on, the perfect husband to come sit before us and say, I've been waiting on you all my life. Or we're waiting on, that perfect job or that job offer. We're waiting on so many things in our life, but we're not being prepared. Mary not only sat at Jesus' feet, but she was actually being fed. She was, not just sitting there. She was actually being fed and being, taught, and she was learning so many things. So while we're sitting waiting, what are we doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you just waiting? Ask yourself, am I just waiting, wasting time away? And then the third thing God is asking us is not to compare ourselves to other women. So as we look at the story, Martha is looking at Mary like, who does she think she is? Why does she think that she could just sit down and do nothing while I choose to run around and to do all this stuff and to make sure, Jesus have this perfect dinner that we invited him in, then we decided to serve. So ask yourself, am I comparing myself to somebody else? As I begin to read this story, I myself can relate both to Mary and Martha. There's times in my life where, I was, ready to listen to everything God had to say, and I was at his feet, and I was crying out to God, and I was doing whatever God, had for me to do. But then there are also times in my life where I got so busy and so involved in things that were around me that I didn't have time to focus on the man, the great man of God being in my presence. I'm here. He's in Martha's house and she's running around doing everything else. So God is saying there's 3 things that I ask of you today, women all over the world, on this Wise Women Wednesday. 3 things. First, be prepared. Don't just step out and do something and not prepared. Second, don't waste time. And third, stop comparing yourself. So if you don't learn anything else from this video, take those 3 things and examine yourself. Again, I want to thank you for watching. If you would like, share, invite your friends to watch so we all can come together, subscribe to the channel. We all can come together and learn from each other. So again, on this Wise Women Wednesday, enjoy your day, and I hope to see you here next week. Thank you.